I mean, if you remember it, now it seems like it's old news, but people were burning Teslas a couple of months ago. Tesla stock took a nasty dump, and it's a lot. A lot has happened in the last 6 months, right? So, needless to say, Musk has decided to move on, which he said he was going to do. From my understanding, I thought he was going to leave in 2026. I guess Doge is still in the process. They're still there, but I guess Elon Musk's role, he's decided to relieve himself a little bit early. The interesting thing is that this big, beautiful bill that has made it through the House, and I think now is going to be kind of, have some tweaking by the Senate. Musk has decided that he slammed the big, beautiful bill, which kind of surprised me. But Musk went on X, of course, and he said, I can't stand this anymore. He said that Trump's bill was a pig, what he said, I don't know, pig fueled or a fat type of bill.
Elon Musk taking aim at President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It faces a lot of opposition from Republicans in the Senate. Musk posting on X, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional.
Pork-filled, that's the word I was looking for. Pork-filled. It's pork-filled, outrageous bill.
Spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Yeah. This is hardly like the first time that Trump and Musk have had a spat over policy. So it's unsurprising in that respect. What is surprising, I would argue, is like how openly he is showing his anger.
Well, I would argue that had Trump not spent 4 years already inside the swamp known as Washington, D.C., inside the Beltway, that he probably would have said the same thing about this bill, because a business person who's used to getting things done efficiently could only look at this bill and say it's the most inefficient piece of crap I've ever seen. I mean, it really is a horrible, horrible bill when you think of all that stuff that the politicians shove into it. At the same time, you have to think of what is worse for Republicans. And what would be worse for Republicans is if the tax cuts from 2017 time out and they end up with a tax increase on their watch, which would mean they would lose the midterms, and the Democrats would be totally in charge, or at the very least stop every single thing that Donald Trump wants to do.
The big, beautiful bill. So what was Musk's issue with the bill? Now, from my understanding, Musk's issue with the bill was a lot of the spending. So the debt ceiling is going to be raised, right? So you're going to have some increased spending. And the big, beautiful bill, the thing about it is that it depends on who you talk to, right? So, for months, the Democrats have been talking about how there are going to be cuts through to Medicaid and healthcare. It's projected that 14 million people could lose healthcare under this bill. I don't know if that's a fact, but this is projected what people are talking about. Now, healthcare is a really complicated situation in this country. I'm not going to get into it that deeply, but I think that my personal opinion on healthcare, one of the reasons why healthcare is so expensive is because we're so freaking unhealthy in this country. If we took care of ourselves a little bit better, I think healthcare costs wouldn't be so astronomical. And again, that's just one part of the argument. I know a lot of people talk about, in Canada and the UK and here and Sweden, and healthcare is free and you can go to the hospital, it's no problem. I don't have a beef with that. But I think I don't think that America could ever pay for healthcare in this country, because we eat like crap and we are sick people in this country. I ain't sick, but I'm saying that there's a lot of people that are sick in this country who do not take care of themselves. And look, I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, our basis of our diet and how we live here is a lot different than other places where the government takes care of the healthcare, right? So that's a big thing. And that, again, it comes into the whole food industry and what we eat, but that's a whole nother story. Now, in relation to Musk, it seems like he had an issue with the debt ceiling being raised, and why, right? I can understand it in a sense, because the whole point of Doge, the whole point of the Department of Government Efficiency was to go in, cut spending and cut waste, right? And the whole point that Elon Musk made from the beginning was decreasing the deficit by half. That was his big thing. We want to cut the deficit by $1 trillion. That was something he talked about. Now, throughout the time where he worked on these cuts, him and the team worked on these cuts, they were saying they found about that, about $1 trillion worth of cuts. They were going to be able to do this, and the goal, I believe, was to cut the deficit in half by 2026, because that's when Doge is supposed to wrap up. Now, as he leaves the White House, again, I don't think Doge has ended, but Elon's role, or his role in it, he seemed to like he's going off on his own way to leave the Doge team to handle it. But he seems to be annoyed by the fact that this bill, the things that are in it, are increasing the debt ceiling, which kind of undermines what Doge was in there to do in the first place, right? So there's these 2017 tax cuts that are set to expire in September, which I guess this bill is going to reinforce those or keep those going, because if those expire, those tax cuts are going to go away, and those who are earning on the top or echelon would be paying more taxes, right? So now let me get on to the big beautiful bill. There are some things in there as far as tax cuts. So if you haven't read it, the big beautiful bill, it's about 47 pages, I want to say. I haven't read all the way through it. I've read through some of it, but you know, the average American isn't about to pull up this bill and read through it line by line. That we got better things to do. We have other things we have to deal with, but there are some things to pay attention to as far as cuts. So they're going to, they're going to increase the child care credit, $500, raising it to $2,500. So if you have children, that's something to look at. Another big thing that Trump was talking about before the election was exemptions for taxes on tips and overtime. So I think that will help, especially people in the service industry, mainly waiters and people working in food service. I mean, the tips, and they're asking you to tip everywhere, man. Everywhere I go to buy something, and they asking me for a tip. Even at the local taco place down the block, I buy tacos, and everywhere is asking you, when you go to pay, do you want to leave a tip? Hell no, you didn't do anything but just make my food. It wasn't like you brought it to a table. But anyway, for people who are waiters, this will be good for you. And then also there's a deduction up to $10,000 on auto loans, only on cars that are assembled in the U.S., and this is going through 2029. So that's something. They're raising the cap on deductions for state and local taxes to $40,000 for taxpayers earning less than $500,000. What else? There's an additional standard deduction of $4,000 for seniors between 2025 and 2028.